The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to the Command Post Live. You know what it is. Post up, take command. I, of course, am your set man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. So this is a pseudo joint practice React Live stream. If you're here for more of the conversation around the joint practice, some of the things that we learned going into the joint practice, and you're here for the vibes, honestly, because there won't be a lot of actual news coming out of the joint practice. The Ravens are very stringent about people posting about events that happen on their grounds regarding practice. Their media usually doesn't tweet anything out. Our media has had our beat reporters and people covering the team. There's been a crackdown on how much they can say. I'm pretty sure you've seen that there hasn't been a lot of content about practice from our media. So they have to adhere to the rules that the Ravens set, since they're going to be at the Ravens facility. We'll see if someone decides to break the rules, right? I'll be, searching through social media, seeing if there's anything we can gather. But Dan Quinn did have a press conference. I was looking at some clips that they put on social media last night, and I was able to deduce what they were doing on the offensive line. Dan Quinn basically told me what I did all of this detective work, right, to try to figure out some shit for y'all. And then he just told us the shit that I figured out. I felt so stupid. I was like, I did all this work last night. I was like, oh man, I just cracked the code. And then he's like, yeah, no, this is what we're doing today. So we'll talk about all that and then some, and what you can expect or you would hope that the team would get from this joint practice with the Baltimore Ravens. And we'll go from there. So we'll start with showing you a little bit of what's going on. You can see this is from Seawall, our girl Candy. She's out live. And let me just say this too. I'll have Candy on later tonight. It's Wednesday. It's Seawall Wednesday. So that's when you'll get the real lowdown on what happened at the joint practice with the Ravens today. Obviously, Rio will probably have Lake on, so that'll be your first opportunity to probably hear from someone that was there, boots on the ground, live. And then I'll have Candy on later on this evening. I think we're going to go live at around 7:30 tonight, try to go a little bit earlier so that we can talk to Candy a little bit longer before she has to get out of here, so we can get a full breakdown. Normally, when we talk to Candy, we've gotten all the information throughout the course of the day. People were there, fans were there, etc. And she's just kind of cleaning up some of the news of the day and then giving us her perspective. But today's going to be a little bit different. We're not going to have a lot of information coming out. Maybe some will trickle out after it is done. But for the most part, it's going to be us kind of piecing things together, maybe a John Kahn podcast, late talking to Rio, that sort of thing. And so we'll get it from Candy's mouth a little bit later on this evening. So we will get more information about this directly from someone who was boots on the ground in Baltimore. But for now, we're just going to talk about what Dan Quinn said at his press conference. I think he said some really interesting things. And again, we'll scour social media, see if we can pick up any breadcrumbs that may be dropped. I don't think we're going to find very many, but such is life. All right. So as you can see here, this is Sonny Styles warming up prior to practice. Here's another clip, a little pass rush clip here. Joshua Josephs working the hands. Hands are so important. I think he needs to be, much better with his hands if he wants to really unlock his ability to rush the quarterback. So Seawald giving us the obligatory look, man. I can't post because remember what happened last year against New England. This is all right. Attention, Commanders fans. Ravens are the home team, so we have to follow their rules. The biggest one for you all to know: there is no live tweeting during non-shooting periods of practice, which is basically the parts you all care about the most. So I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm not tweeting my thoughts until this practice is over, which is going to be the sentiment, I believe, across the board. But you might get one rogue reporter in here somewhere who decides to do their thing. So I will keep, tabs of whether or not everybody's following rules. I don't want to put nobody out there. Even if somebody decides to go rogue and do something, I might not put them out on Front Street. I might just tell y'all, I got some information. I might not tell you where I got it from, but I'll tell you what was said. I don't think we're going to get anything, though. Most people like their jobs, and these teams aren't playing around. When they tell you they don't want you doing something, that means they don't want you doing something, and people usually are going to follow suit. So I did want to show you this right here. So newest offensive lineman. I didn't think he was going to practice today. It was pretty quick. DJ Humphries on the practice field today. DQ talked about why they signed him and what his activity level would be today. So we'll talk about that. So as you can see, DJ Humphries jogging onto the field, and he will get work in this preseason joint practice. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw him in the preseason game a little bit. Although he's a veteran, over 100 starts, he don't need to play in that third preseason game, bro. I would hope DQ would not put him out there in that third preseason game. You got fiends who trying, to make a roster. They out here don't care, don't give a damn. They out here going on suicide, kamikaze missions. Don't put this guy who we just signed as a veteran that we probably are going to have to rely on at some point this season. Don't put him out there in that kind of chaos. So I don't think he's going to play necessarily on Friday, but he is going to get some work, DQ said today. We'll talk more about what DQ had to say about DJ Humphries here in a bit. But again, I will scour social media as we are live today. I doubt I find anything. I'm gonna even pull up a couple of Ravens beat reporters. I know they ain't giving us shit either. They know how the rules go in Baltimore, but I'm gonna still pull up a couple of them and see what happens. So looks like the Ravens won't have Zay Flowers today. They won't have Zion Young, Bilal Kone, Jamin Johnson, Carl Jones, Reed Wilford, Octavian Smith. Flowers, Young, and Jones are all working on a side field, sort of what we do with like guys like Bill and Duran and all those guys who are working on the side field, but not actually practicing. So there are some guys that are out, similar to us, right? Like Ravens have their center out. Zay Flowers isn't going to participate here. Zion Young. So some pretty significant names won't be participating on their end of this as well. So that is interesting to know. So they got some center issues too. Big week in the starting center competition between Javon Gwynn and Danny Pinter. So they got some issues over there at center, do the Ravens as well. So we'll see what comes of it. We got a real conversation to be had about the center position. DQ, he didn't really tell me anything that I didn't already deduce myself. I think I speak the language of Dan Quinn very fluently at this point. I pride myself on being able to read between the lines. When breadcrumbs are dropped, I pride myself on being able to pick them up pretty quickly and efficiently. So seeing that DQ is pissed, seeing that DQ talked about Golden going back to center, strictly to center, and seeing how long Julian Good-Jones played in the second preseason game, I, as a wise woman likes to say, I read my clues. I read my clues, and that told me all I needed to know about Julian Good-Jones. Now, that's not to say that Julian Good-Jones won't still get opportunities at center, but they're really turning it over to Matt Golden, and we'll talk about that here in a bit. But let's I'm about to pull up a bunch of Ravens guys just to make sure they following the rules, which we know they are. But you just never know, man. Somebody might decide to go rogue, like I said before. And I'm here for it. If you want to, I'm here for it. I'm not gonna out you, I promise. I promise. I promise I won't out you if you do decide to. Oops. All right. So let's get into. So I got a couple Ravens guys pulled up, and we'll keep tabs. We'll see if anybody decides to go against the grain, so to speak. All right. Let's wrap a little bit. So Dan Quinn's press conference started off by saying Sam Cosmi, and this sucks, right? Like, not that it matters, but it does, but it doesn't. Sam Cosmi out of the joint practice today, as if we needed any more offensive linemen not participating today. He was sick. He felt ill at the hotel. They left him behind, told him to stay put. So he's fine, but he doesn't feel well. So he's not going to participate. And so another offensive lineman down today. So sounds like Trent Scott, Julian Good-Jones, maybe a smattering of Andrew Wiley, but more so Trent Scott and Julian Good-Jones will be playing guard today. Not ideal, obviously. With you already having issues at center and left tackle, it is not ideal to have Cosmi out today, but such is life once again. DQ also addressed DJ Humphries right off the bat, said that he was a guy that they monitored for a couple of years now, he said. So basically, since they got here, they kept tabs on DJ Humphries. And he said that he's a guy that tons of experience, which we know, we talked about that already, and someone that they feel confident can come in, kind of help stabilize the tackle position. They aren't really looking for Andrew Wiley to play the left side, which we had this conversation just yesterday. And I told you, I said, this is not about Brandon Coleman. And literally, Mitch Tischler asked DQ, is there any thought to the idea of using Humphries as your starting left tackle and kicking Coleman back inside the guard? And DQ looked him right in his face. No. That's not happening. And didn't say nothing else. He just shut that shit down bluntly, as plain as he could. And I told y'all that yesterday. This wasn't about Brandon Coleman. The plan is to go, like, if they were actually looking to replace Coleman, they would have gone Taylor Decker. Like, you would have went top shelf. Like, again, this is a solid option, but he's a backup at this point of his career. Like, I need y'all to understand what DJ Humphries is. Don't think for 1 second that he's a savior. Some of y'all, when we sign guys, you think that, oh my God, we just got this guy and he's nice. Don't let former first round pick and all of that shit fool. He was a former first round pick in 2015. We talking about over a decade ago. Like, this man has over 100 starts. He ain't started. He hasn't been a starter since 2023. Like, his best football is behind him. He's on the downside of his career. Don't look for DJ Humphries to be some sort of savior. He's here as an insurance policy. Nothing more, nothing less. That's the way you should treat it. That's the way you should look at it. And that's what he is. So DQ said, we feel good about him coming in here. We don't want Andrew Wiley basically playing left tackle. We feel comfortable with Wiley at right tackle, but we don't want him on the left side. Humphries gives us a guy that, if need be, he can slide into that left tackle position and we can keep the party going. That's exactly what they brought him here for, insurance. So, I think they're not done with insurance policies on the offensive line, especially if Matt Golban doesn't show them what they're looking for. If Matt Golban shows them, what they're looking for today against the Ravens and then ultimately against the Ravens on Friday in the preseason game, they may just double down on their 6th round pick and expect that Nick Allegretti will get healthy and that's what they'll roll with. But if they don't like what they see from Matt Golban, they're going to do something else at center. I still would prefer them to bring in a guard. Like, I'm not a Trent Scott fan. I've already told you, I don't think he's very good. I think they are way too confident in what Trent Scott would bring into a game if he was thrusted into that position. I'm not comfortable with Trent Scott having to go into the game at this point. 2 years ago, yeah. Now, no. And so their confidence level in him is a lot higher than mine, but we'll come back. We'll circle back to the Andrew Wiley, Trent Scott conversation because there was a specific portion of the press conference where he talked about those two in particular. DQ was asked, was he concerned about the injuries to all of the players? We've got a laundry list. I like to say a giant receipt. Some of the longest receipts I've ever seen in my life come from the grocery chain Giant, where you go in there, I would buy 2 items and the receipt would be this long. Can't even see how far apart my hands are. That's how long the damn receipt would be just for 2 items. That's how long our injury list is right now. It's ridiculous. He said, yeah, I'm concerned. Of course I'm concerned. You want guys out there. And he said, but these guys have practiced quite a bit. We are, excited about how many reps guys have made. All right, so here's a little bit. Again, they can't tell us anything, but I'll just throw this out here real quick from Ben Standing because he's going to follow the rules as he should. He said, FYI, we are going by the Ravens rules today. They include no tweeting during practice, including and especially injury updates after practice. Get ready. So they will unload the clip after practice is ready, and we'll be here for it. When they unload the clip, we'll be here and we'll just jump right into it seamlessly. But Rachaad White, hamstring warming up, expected to participate in individuals still only. So Rachaad White yesterday was on the side field, yesterday was in indie drills. So he's still doing indie drills, will not participate in the actual joint practice, but it's good to see him getting some work in, which means he's very, very close to getting back on the field. Obviously, Jaden going to be the focal point of practice today for the Commanders on the offensive side. You see him there getting a quick little rep in, little drop back, throw action. So that from Ben Standing. Let me just check to see if we got anything else anywhere else from anyone else. Again, I doubt it. Let's see. Nobody wants to sleep with the fishes. Nobody wants to sleep with the fishes. So, all right. So back to what we were talking about. He said, yeah, he's concerned about the injuries, but he said Trey Amos and Nick Allegretti are the two he's the most concerned about. Those are the two guys who have barely practiced at all this summer. Everybody else that's injured has gotten a considerable amount of work. KC 45. Adafiowe, Deron Payne, Bill, Jordan McGee, and anybody else who's banged up right now and out. They've been out there quite a bit. They've either played in a preseason game, been a part of a joint practice, or they've been out there quite a bit this summer. All right. So Ben Sinnott, all of those guys that are not participating right now. So Trey Amos and Nick Allegretti are the only two that really haven't practiced this summer. And he's like, those are the two that he's most concerned about, as he should be, especially when you're talking about a brand new system on both sides of the football, and you really haven't had a chance, especially for Trey Amos in particular. At least Nick Allegretti was healthy all of the offseason, so he was able to get reps during, OTAs and mini camp and things of that nature. Like Trey Amos couldn't even participate in the walkthroughs because he was on the PUP list, still, rehabbing his injury. So, like, it's really, really going to be, I think, tough sledding potentially for Trey Amos to just jump back in, because Allegretti's a smart enough guy that I feel like he's going to be able to just jump in and do what he needs to do. He's a veteran. He's been around the block multiple times. He should be fine. But I don't think that's going to be the case for Trey Amos necessarily. Second-year player, struggled, I thought, in situations where he needed to be disciplined, specifically with the defensive calls. He needs the reps. He needs the reps. He needs to be out there. He just hasn't been able to do that. So it is what it is at this point. But I digress. What's considered a successful day at this joint practice? And he said, and yesterday I talked about this as well. I said, look, man, if we're being honest, joint practices to me are really more so for the trenches. So much of practice during the off season and, when you're doing light days with no pads, so much of the focus is on the pass game because you can work on those things. 7-on-7, 11-on-11, even in, days that are unpadded or even, shells, whatever the case may be, you can get a lot of the pass game work in. You worked on the pass game throughout the offseason because even when you can't contact people, you can always work on the pass game. The run game is what suffers. The trenches is what suffers when you don't have pads on. So when you get an opportunity to be fully padded and go up against another team, that to me is where the best and the bulk of your work should be done. And that's where you get the best evaluations. So to me, run game, he talked about wanting to see movement in the run game. That is important to me because pass protection, twists and stunts, games up front, how do you pass those off? We've struggled with that the first two preseason games. We've struggled with passing off twists and stunts, guys on green dog blitzes coming late when the running back stays in and they got an opportunity to come on the blitz late. We struggle with that. Guys have run right across the face of our centers and guards, right by them into the backfield. So we struggled in the run game mightily against Detroit after having a fantastic day running the football against Miami. So they've struggled, I think, in the run game at practice, especially on the interior, which is not a surprise with all the change and the turmoil in the interior of the offensive line in particular. But he wants to see run game movement. He wants to see pass protection. He wants to see the trenches, both sides. He said he wants to generate pressure defensively and he wants to stop the run. Duh, right? Again, all of those things are trench based, right? You want to see physicality up front. You want to see movement. The Ravens are a physical football team, or have been in the past. We'll see what this new iteration of them with a brand new coach. Again, Jesse Minter, defensive-minded guy. I would assume that the defense will be the priority, so they're probably going to be a physical team like they always have been. But ultimately, that's what a successful day is. Obviously, getting good work for the offense, Jaden and whatnot, against a good Ravens football team. But more importantly, you want to see what this offensive line. This is, to me, this day is really about the offensive line, if we're being honest with each other. Whatever happens defensively happens. We got so many guys out defensively, especially on the front, that I don't think any of us are really tripping about what happens defensively in this joint practice. If they come back and they tell us that the defense got dominated by the Ravens offense, I don't think any of us would flinch or blink about that. It's the offense that you're really concerned about here, because this is a group that needs work. This is a group that has been underwhelming, especially the offensive line in particular. We know Jaden can't be hit, so I'm looking to see where these legitimate passes that he got off, would he have been sacked, that kind of thing. How did Matt Galvin look? He is going to get a lot of the opportunities today at center. We're going to talk about that here in a second. So those are things that I want to hear, and that's how I'm going to determine how successful of a day it was for the Commanders at this joint practice. A question was posed to DQ of whether or not it was an important day for Jaden today. And he was basically like, look, Jaden's had a great summer. He's had a great camp. Like, today, yes, while you want him to go out and play well, he's not going to play in a game on Friday, so you want him to get opportunities to show what he can do. He said he's such a competitor. You know how DQ, all the DQ-isms, he's such a competitor. He's such a badass competitor. He really gets after it. He really digs in. All of that shit that he always says. Ultimately, he's like, you want Jaden to go out here against a different defense, against different looks, against a Ravens defense that's going to try to confuse him. You want him to look sharp. Of course you do. He's got weapons. The question is, can he be protected? If he's protected, I have no doubts that 5 is going to go out there and do what he always does, right? So, we'll see. But he's like, he didn't say it wasn't an important day for Jaden, but it's not an important day. It's another step in the process to getting ready on the road to week 1 against Philadelphia. And you want to see him do well against another team. He's not going to play in a preseason game. The last time that they saw him against another colored jersey, it wasn't pretty. Again, so they would like to see him be sharp out there. They would like to see him be sharp out there. Most valuable thing for today, DQ was asked, what's the most valuable thing? And he said a lot of the one-on-one matchups, D-line versus O-line, a lot of the trenches work. We talked about that already. To me, trenches are the most important in a joint practice, because these are the things that you don't necessarily get to work on when you're doing your team drills with fully padded practices. Again, while you can work on some of those things, it's a little bit different because your team knows one another, right? They know what to expect. They've gone up against this guy every day in camp. There's only so much you're going to be able to do and confuse with, because they've seen it enough times. This is a totally different defense. You don't know how this guy plays that's in front of you. You can't anticipate what he's going to do. You don't know him. You don't know what they're going to call. It's going to be a little bit different. And so you're getting a different look. Everything's different. And so that's valuable. That is valuable. So he was like, the one-on-ones, the trenches work, seeing where guys are, seeing how they communicate in this chaos that's going to go on, because now the Ravens are a different team. They have a different tempo. They go about things differently. They might be making, formational shifts at the line of scrimmage. They may be sending guys in motion. How do we communicate all of those things? So he's like, communication is also going to be something that's big on a day like today. What do you want to see from the interior of the offensive line? He said he wants to see execution. He wants to see command of the offense. He wants to see the ability to get to the run fits correctly. Again, all the shit that you would expect an offensive lineman to be able to do consistently. That's honestly, he's looking for consistency. That's something that has escaped us this summer on the offensive line, specifically on the interior. We haven't had consistent productivity because we haven't had guys consistently stay in the lineup. When we have had guys consistently in the lineup, Julian Good-Jones, it hasn't been consistent play. So he's looking for consistency, someone to command the offense, someone that can properly get into their run fits, someone that can properly call out the defense, set the mics and the protections correctly, pass off twists and stunts in games up front, move guys, create a new line of scrimmage, hold the integrity of the pocket. That's what the interior of the offensive line is tasked with doing on a consistent basis. And you would hope that is something that your interior would be able to do, but don't hold your breath with what we've been putting out there. So the Ravens look like they just put somebody on. It was funny because the guy was just literally saying for the Ravens, this is a big week for Danny Pinter in the center competition, and now they just put him on IR. But Ethan Posick is back now. And remember, that's the guy we could have signed. I remember he was coming off of a major injury. And I remember our fan base was like, yo, we should go get Ethan Posick. And he was out there, and the Ravens snatched him up with the quickness. And now he's back from his injury, and he's going to compete for the center job in Baltimore. He could have been here in Washington competing for this shit. We should have signed him. I think we should have signed Ethan Posick, but whatever. Can't cry over spilt milk. Too late for that shit now, but he's in Baltimore. We'll see him today, because he'll be taking first team reps with the Ravens today in hopes of locking up their starting center position. Anyway, I digress. Let's see. He said he wanted to see the defense. One of the things DQ talked about wanting to see from the defense is the disguises. One of the things he thinks Durante Jones is really good at, one of his superpowers, is disguises. That's what the basis of the Brian Flores defense consists of in Minnesota, is disguising what it is you're actually doing. And so he wants to try to confuse Lamar today. He said that's one of the things they want to do. They want to execute. Obviously, execution is key. Just doing the fundamentals correctly, doing the right things when you're supposed to do it, how you're supposed to do it. You know how big Durante is on the why and then the how. He's like, I don't care about the result as much as did you get to the result the right way? Because if you get there the wrong way, you're going to think that that's okay. You're going to create bad habits. And if the other team is capable of taking advantage of it, this team might not be able to, but the next team might be able to take advantage of you if you have bad habits. So, Durante's big on doing shit the right way. If you do things the right way, the results will come. He's big on that. So they want to see execution. They want to see guys doing it the right way. And of course, communication is going to be key. So DQ talked about Matt Gulbin getting basically all of the reps at center. he said that they've already had a good long look at Julian Good-Jones. He's gotten a ton of reps this summer, which we all know. They haven't been good. And I think they finally came to the realization that we have to do something. So he said that Matt Goldman would get, and this is the homework that I was doing last night. So last night I was on the Commanders X page, and I'm watching them put up all these clips. They put up quite a bit of clips. The catch that we talked about from Monday's practice with Traylon Burks back of the end zone. They put that clip there, got his 2 feet down, inbounds. A little sidearm action from Jaden to oh shit, we got some action. Antonio Williams, like, that's not fair. Antonio Williams beat Kyle Hamilton in one-on-ones. That's not fair. That's not a fair fight. That's a safety on a wide receiver in a I believe an elite type wide receiver at that. That's like putting Kyle Hamilton on Justin Jefferson. That's like putting Kyle Hamilton on Jamar Chase and he gets cooked. Like, that's not fair. Although I love it, you know what I'm saying? But there's a clip here. I don't know where this person got it from, but I'm looking at the clip right now. I'm gonna show it to y'all, man. What the hell? That's why we here, right? If they didn't want this shit up here, they wouldn't put it up here. So I'm about to pull that shit up real quick for y'all, so you can see it. Again, it ain't much, but it beats poor, right? I'm gonna pull that joint up for y'all real fast. Again, not an ideal matchup for the Ravens. Much rather see a corner out there than a damn safety trying to cover. Now, Kyle Hamilton is supposed to be a Swiss Army knife and a guy that can kind of do everything. So there is that, but ultimately, that's not a winning recipe, right? So that's the play basically right there. Wins on a little fade route, nothing major. Easy work. Again, that's not a real matchup. So I would love to tell y'all, like, oh shit, like, I'm excited. He's supposed to do that to him. If he didn't do that to him, I would be disappointed. If we being honest with one another. So anyway, if we get any more updates, we'll move him to the front of the line, though, is what we gonna do. Because he out here. We got something. So let's see. All right. Anyway. I was watching the clips on the X page. The Traylon Burks catch back of the end zone, 2 feet, beautiful play. We got Jaden with some sidearm action to Stephon Diggs. Matter of fact, I could pull that up for y'all right now, and y'all can watch it yourselves. Y'all probably already seen it, but in the event that you haven't, I'll pull it up really quickly for you so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's go here instead. So this is just the fellas running out onto the field for the joint practice. All right. And got Sonny running out. All the backers got Frankie, got Oos running out, Kane, Sonny getting ready to go against the Ravens. All right. So this was Obviously, we signed DJ Humphries. I showed you the clip of him coming out to the practice field today. All right. So this was the play right here, right? This is the one. This is one of John Bates for a touchdown. I want y'all to watch. I'm gonna pause it. So like I was doing this investigative work, right? So for one, I don't know if you peep game, pause it. For one, look who's in with the first team offense, right? Antonio Williams. I'm just saying, right? We said he need to get more work with 5 on the field. I think when the season starts, 14 gonna be out there. That like I remember Rio keeps saying, bro, week 1 against Philadelphia, he gonna have 5 for 87. That shit might be legit. Like I don't like how they do on my man's in the preseason, and we gonna find out a lot about like really where he is on the depth chart, like food chain wise. If he's out there at all, like if they don't play him at all on Friday night, we know what time it is. Like they've been bullshitting this whole summer. DQ doing that DQ shit. If he's out there for like the first 2 possessions, still he's good. If he's out there for like the whole first half of the game or even a quarter and a half, like, all right, man, DQ on some real bullshit, man. Like he really hoeing my boy, right? He's out there with Jaden, right? See Antonio Williams getting some work. So that was the first thing that I did. Little investigative work, right? So we go on. This is the next one, the next clip. This is the one. You see how Traylon Burks got up, got his feet down in bounds in front of Ed's boy, right? For the touch. All right. That's a dope catch. Goes up, climbs the ladder, gets his feet down, inbounds. That's fire, right? But that's burying the lead. It's a dope-ass play. We talked about it the other day. This is the lead right here. Matt Golban, right in front of Jaden as he's throwing his pass. He snapped the ball. So that means he was in at center. So I was like, oh, shit. Matt Golban getting these reps, right? Because nobody's really been telling us who's out here at center, right? So I'm like, oh, shit, Golban out here getting his work in, right? So that was exciting. Great catch once again. Feet down, inbound, dope, right? So this one is to Diami, right? Jaden rolls out, throws a dart. Kane Madrano, I see your numbers. You see Cosme walking around. You see Chris Paul walking around. So you know the starters are out there, obviously. You see Andrew Wiley out there. Remember, Coleman did not practice yesterday, so Andrew Wiley is allowed to be out there. Somebody had to play left tackle yesterday. All right. So I'm doing this investigative work. Frame by frame, right? That's 66 right there, y'all. So again, I was over here just doing some extra shit. I was like, oh yeah, I got the sauce for him tomorrow, right? Then don't worry about all that. Don't worry about all that. Don't worry about all that. Matt Golban is absolutely getting the reps with the ones. He's center. And he said, we're moving Julian Good-Jones to guard. That man, that's the equivalent of them basically saying they putting Julian Good-Jones back on punts. They about to get rid of that man. So I'm going to tell y'all like this. Candy said, it ain't going to be good for us today, y'all. She told me that. She said, I'm going to be honest with you, Louie. It ain't going to be good because, you know, Candy covers the Ravens too. She covers both the Ravens and the Commanders. So she said, it ain't going to be good for y'all. It ain't going to be good for us, us being us fans. It ain't going to be good for y'all today, Louie. It's a lot of people out, and the Ravens are like that. It's not going to be good. So I'm not like, this is not going to be one of those days where I overreact. I mean, we literally walked into Baltimore with 2/3, what it feels like 2/3 of the roster out. You just hope that guys get good work in that are out there. And then you add Cosme to the mix of a line that was already compromised. Again, we're going to see what happens. But again, we'll see what happens with the day. And I expect it not to be good for the Commanders today. I'm going to just be honest with you. I expect this to be some bullshit today. I'm not tripping about it. I'm not tripping about it. That's not ideal. It's not what you want, but I know the situation. I know what it is. I might smile in your face and tell you everything is great. Even though I'm out on bond and might be facing 8, as a wise man once said. I'm a smile in your face today and tell you everything is great. Even though I'm out on bond and might be facing 8. I know what the situation is, bro. Y'all do too. So you can overreact if you want to a joint practice in August with a third of the roster. I won't say 2/3. That's a bit much. A third of the roster out. And significant pieces, I may add. It ain't like a bunch of Jordan McGee's and Ben Sinnot's are out, which those 2 guys are out. But it's a bunch of starters. It's frontline guys. Of course, it's going to make a difference. So it is what it is. So Matt Golden's going to get the nod. And look, you know what I asked for about 3 weeks ago? I said I need Julian Good-Jones to stink it up so that they get desperate enough to go out and make a move. I don't want to put Matt Golden in that same conversation because he's a 6th-round pick. I want him to work out here. I already know what Julian Good-Jones is and what he isn't. What he is a liability. What he isn't is an actual NFL center. So I didn't want him around. He's not making this team. I don't want Matt Golden to stink. So I'm not putting that same smut on him that I did Julian Good-Jones. That said, it would be nice if they were like, yo, Golden wasn't bad today, but we can do better. I would like that a lot. And they go out and get somebody. That's what I really want. Them to do something about the center position. But I've been crying about that since forever, right? Like once they moved on from Tyler Biadasz, I said, you better have a real plan in place. And that plan was Tyler Linderbaum. When that fell through, they clearly did not have a plan B. That was the problem that I've had. That's the biggest problem I've had this entire offseason, is that they didn't have a plan B when they moved on from Biadasz. Their plan A was Tyler Linderbaum. When that fell through, there was no plan B. And they went straight to plan D, which was, we could just start Nick Allegretti. And we'll draft a center. And they did. Problem is, they did it in the 6th round. And I'm not in the habit of asking 6th-round picks to start as rookies. It's just not usually what I do. It's great when you find a guy like Bill and you get a steal in the later rounds. But let's be honest with ourselves. That's the rarity. That is a unique set of circumstances. That's not the norm in the NFL. So I would like for them to do something. We'll see if they do. We'll see if they do something. I've already told you guys this. I expect them to do something. So I'll be shocked if they don't. All right. He also talked about the cornerback position, did Dan Quinn. He talked about Rasul Douglas and Fabian Moreau. I thought this was interesting because John Keim, I don't know if y'all saw this the other day. John Keim Somebody said their plan B was Allegretti. That to me ain't plan B. That's plan D. Like, you skip 2 spots and then you get to Allegretti. Like, that's not a good enough plan. If that's your plan B, then your plan to begin with was faulty. You didn't plan well enough. If Nick Allegretti is your starting center, is your plan B, you didn't plan well enough from the beginning. Because before you get to Nick Allegretti as your starter, you should have had 3 different plans in place. He should be option D. Not A, not B, not C, but D. And to me, they had an option A, which was Tyler Linderbaum. And then there should have been a plan B, a fallback plan. If we don't get him, here's who we're going to target. Just like at tight end. I think their first choice was Isaiah Likely. That was most of our first choices. We can't sit here and have revisionist history because he signed with the Giants and all of a sudden, oh, we didn't want him. We always wanted Chig. No, let's not do that. We wanted Isaiah Likely first. But there was a plan B. If we don't get Likely, we're going to go get Chig. The plan wasn't, if we don't get Isaiah Likely, we're just going to start Ben Sinnott. That would have been some bullshit. That's essentially what the Nick Allegretti plan was. Like, no one would have been happy with that. If they wouldn't have signed Chig, we'd have been pissed off because they needed to do something at tight end. They needed to do something at center. So that can't be plan B. So if it is plan B, that's a faulty plan to begin with, if that makes sense. So someone says, look up Cordell Woodland. I'm on it. I'm on it. Let's do it. Cordell Woodland. All right. We got action. We got action. All right. We got a rule breaker, man. I like it a lot. Let's get to it. Let's get to it, man. I'm with the shits. I'm with them indeed. Let's get to it. All right. Shout out to our guy, Cordell Woodland. All right. So get a little bit of Lamar throwing the peel around to start. All right, we're going to go up here. This is Rashad Bateman versus Meek. Woo! Got him. Hey, one-on-ones are tough, man. One-on-ones are tough. Give me a Meek every day of the week, man. That's a damn good route. That's a damn good route from Rashad Bateman. Out here beating him like he out here beating up. Nah, I'm not going to do that, man. Shout out to Rashad Bateman, man. Let me stop, cut my nonsense out. That was a good ass route, man. Can't even be mad at that. We would have all got diced up on that one. Next up, Sonny Styles versus Jonathan Woodard. That's good coverage, honestly. It's good coverage. He ain't leave him at the bus stop. He just wasn't in a good enough position to turn his head, but I take that all day. I take that coverage all day. He was right there. Right there. All right, so if we get some more little clips, I'll fire them off. If y'all see anybody else with some heat out there, hey, put it down in the comment section, man. Put it in the comment section so we can check them out. All right. So nah, I'm not gonna say what I was about to say about Bateman, man. I'm gonna behave myself, man. Why is that delusional? Why is that delusional? That they should have had a better plan. Why is that delusional? Or you might be talking about something else I said. At the end of the day, somebody said it's starting to look like it's going to be another long season. You can't deduce that from a joint practice, y'all. You can't deduce that from a joint practice. Y'all remember 2024? I do. You remember what happened in the joint practice versus the Jets? Because I do. We got our asses whooped that day. It wasn't good for the good guys. at the joint practice versus the Jets. Wasn't good at all. Do you remember what happened at the joint practice versus the Ravens that year? Because we had joint practice with the Ravens in 2024. We were supposed to have a joint practice with them in 2025, but they backed out last year. It wasn't very good for us. I'd say the season went pretty good for us, though. I don't know. Did we joint practice with them in the 24? Because we played them that year. Usually you don't joint practice with a team that you're ultimately going to play in the regular season, because we played them in the regular season that year. I don't know if we had a joint practice with them. I'm trying to think. Is that the year? I feel like that was 24, the year that Mark Andrews belly to back suplexed one of our corners. I think it was a corner or safety. Might have been 2023 though. Feels like it was a year where we were super ass. But anyway, I digress. Somebody says Scott is posting. You know what? I didn't even check Scott's account. Shame on me. See what Scotty Abraham is doing. See what he doing. Probably he ain't up to shit. All right. So yeah, Scott Abraham is posting a little something. I had Tashawn on one of these. I did. I thought I did. I guess I didn't. Let me pull Tashawn Reed up. Look like he might be doing a little something. Two. Hit him with that Baltimore two. Tashawn Reed. Let's pull him up. So yeah. Let's pull her up on the screen here. All right, so this is just to remind y'all who's not practicing today, because I think some of y'all like to forget and have selective memory. No Marcus Mariota, not that matters. No Bill, Jeremy McNichols. You could throw Rashad White into the mix. He's doing individual drills, but he's not participating in team drills. No Ben Sinnott, no Laramie Tunzel, no Nick Allegretti, no Sam Cosmi, no Daron Payne, no Johnny Newton, no Adafi Owe, no Kayla Chason, no Jordan McGee, no Trey Amos. It's a lot of guys. Okay, it's a lot of guys out. Says Tashawn Reed says the Commanders couldn't get much going during that 11-on-11 red zone drill. The run blocking was subpar, and the pass offense couldn't get into a groove. The low light Matt Golbin had an errant snap. Matt, don't do that shit, buddy. Don't do that. Jaden Daniels recovered it and threw it right to Kyle Hamilton. So that sounded like some Monty Python type bullshit. Now we on some goddamn on football folly shit. Errant snap, Jaden picks the bitch up, hot potato, and throws it right to a defender. Oh no, that's terrible. Let's see. Scott Abraham had some stuff here. So let's go to Scotty. Scotty Abraham says Lamar to Bateman for a 20-yard gain during 11-on-11. Amik Robertson on the coverage. I'm standing next to a former Ravens wide receiver, Torrey Smith, and he screamed, "Good route, boy." Bateman out there routing dudes up. We saw him in the red zone. Get Amik. Amik is a dog. He gonna come back and he gonna continue to get after it. So that's the life of a corner. He says Lamar looking accurate here. I'm on the Ravens versus Commanders defensive side. Lamar with a nice pass across the middle to Mark Andrews beating Washington's zone look. So that's where we are right now. I had already pre-wired my brain to know that today was not going to be a good day for the good guys. Like Candy was like, I'm just telling you right now, Louie, it ain't going to be good for y'all. Okay, it's not going to be a good day. She told me that 2 days ago. She told me that 2 days ago we were talking, and she said it's not gonna be a good day on Wednesday. I just want you to know that. And she told me that again. We talked this morning, and she said it's not gonna be a good day today, Louie. I need you to know that. So, Chad Ricardo. All right. Again, y'all see a name? Fire it my way. Chad Ricardo. I'm loading it up. Chad Ricardo. Let's see what Chad talking about. Nah, Chad ain't talking about nothing, man. Chad ain't talking about nothing. So somebody said JCT Sports. That was a dead end y'all just sent me on. Let's see if this one is a little bit better. Josh. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we got a lot of heat here. Yeah. Oh, Josh is a big rule breaker. I like Josh a lot. All right. Where do we start? Yeah, let's start right here. We'll go all the way back to the beginning of practice, basically. So let's go here. All right. So let's do this. All right. Josh with the heat. I'm about to text Candy right now because she just texted me. Yeah, hold on a second. I'll tell her to stay off social media because don't nobody know what they talking about. Candy, stay off social media. We getting cooked. And I'm telling them that right now. All right. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's get to it. So this is Josh Tolentino. Shout out to Josh, man. I like rule breakers. He said that really strong start for Ravens first team defense during 7-on-7. On back-to-back reps, Jaden Daniels is forced to hold on to the ball too long before throwing it away. Kyle Hamilton and Nate Wiggins are hyped. Then we get to this is when somebody said that he had fumbled. All right, I'm coming, y'all. I'm texting Candy real quick. So so this was the little pass out here. This is really a catch. And it might have been a fumble, but he was out of bounds, so it don't really matter. Katron Allen versus Trenton Simpson. Keandre Jackson ignites the Ravens sideline with his forced fumble on Commanders running back. See, Robert Henry Jr., I told you he ain't making the roster, y'all. But this is not why. But this is his second fumble that we know about. Fumbled in the game. That's the one that I think cost them a chance at making the roster. You needed to make impactful plays. That fumble hurt you, took away an opportunity for you to get pivotal work in a 4-minute situation, 2-minute situation. Go win the game. All of that was erased because he fumbled, and then he fumbled again here. Henry initially reached second level with a nice juke hitting the hole. Now, I still think he's going to be on the practice squad because he's got talent, but he's not making the football team. At the line, but the Illinois State alum Jackson comes crashing down and rips the football away. Kyle Hamilton picks off Jaden Daniels in the back of the end zone during red zone 11-on-11. Pass intended for tight end Chig Okonkwo. Hamilton celebrates by shooting the ball over the goalpost, and sticking his fellow. I don't know what that part is. I don't know what that part is. Next play, Marlon Humphreys makes a diving PBU on an in-breaking route. Ravens secondary is eating today. Jaden Daniels connects with Terry McLaurin against zone coverage in 11-on-11s. Though would have been an easy sack for. See, this is the shit we talk about, right? But Tavius Robinson, who beat right tackle Connerly. So he connected with Terry. And if you weren't, you know what I'm saying, if you leave out the other part, oh, okay, nice little chunk play to Terry. No, he held on to the ball because he can't get sacked, right? Like that's the shit that I didn't want to hear today, but I knew I was going to hear today. So, yeah. So I kind of figured that's what it is. Nate Wiggins snuffs out a Jaden Daniels pass to the right flats. Would have been a big tackle for loss on De'Ami Brown in a real game, but no tackling. Ravens sideline is hype. Next play, Roquan records another tackle for loss on a pass to the left flat. It's been a strong practice thus far for the Ravens defense. And that's where we are. That's the last update, man. So, yeah, it's not good for the good guys. But again, I wasn't expecting it to be good for the good guys. Was not expecting it to be good for the good guys today, based off of what we have up front on the offensive line. I will say this: as we get guys back healthy, they get more reps, more time on task. And here's the most important thing: you start game planning. That's the thing that nobody likes to talk about. Candy is not happy, y'all. We need this. Let's do this right now. We need this. Candy is fuming right now. Candy just sent me a text, expletive laced text message about the center position. She is hot. She is livid right now about center. I think it's time for them to stop this bullshit. I've been saying this probably for 3 months now. They need to do something at center. All right. I hope this practice, because what I feel is that they're going to continue to put their faith in Nick Allegretti, and that's fine. All right. I don't have a Nick Allegretti problem. My problem is what happens, and I've said this a million times, and I'm going to keep saying it. It's the same thing I said about left tackle, and I'm glad they did something about it, because I said my problem isn't with Brandon Coleman. My problem is what happens if something happens to Brandon Coleman. My problem isn't Nick Allegretti. I don't love him as a starter. I've said that a million times. I don't want him starting, but he's serviceable. You can get by with Nick Allegretti as your starting center. My problem isn't Nick Allegretti. My problem is what happens to the center position if something happens to Nick Allegretti. Nick Allegretti hasn't been healthy all summer. And so if we get to week 1 and 6 plays in, Allegretti has to leave the game because of the same injury that's plagued him all summer, you can't put Matt Galbin or Julian Good-Jones in the game. Hopefully this practice is the practice that they needed to see. We don't have the answer at center. And again, I said this 2 days ago. You've come this far in the process, and you can see it through. You got a preseason game to wrap up your summer on Friday, and then the roster cuts will commence on Sunday, and you can just wait. At this point, you bringing in a center right now ain't going to change shit, because there ain't no practices. It ain't no way for you to, so you can wait. But something has to be done. When these cuts get made, something has to be done. If you want to continue working with Matt Galbin, so you let him make the roster because you see some potential in him, maybe as a guard or something else, fine. But Julian Good-Jones can't make this roster. And as far as I'm concerned, if you don't have enough space on the roster and you need to bring in somebody, Matt Galbin can go to the practice squad. Because right now, neither one of those dudes are serving a purpose on the roster. If Galbin can't give you something else at guard, you can cut Matt Galbin. Ain't nobody taking Matt Galbin off our hands. He'll make it through waivers and he'll get back on the practice squad. You can work with him then. But they got to do something. We have to bring in a legitimate backup center on this roster. And I'm not talking about Brunskill or some shit like that. Like, go get us a legitimate backup center, right? All right. Let's see if we got some more heat from anybody. Any more rule breakers? All right. We got some more heat. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot he used to work there. Ooh. Y'all want to see an old friend? Y'all ready? Look who's in the building. He worked for both organizations. Our old friend Vinny Serrato in the building. Remember, he used to work for the Ravens last. Former Skins director of player personnel, Vinny Serrato, is here. He has his own radio show in Baltimore these days. He used to work for the Ravens. So, our old friend. Remember that laugh he had that they used to play on the radio station? Oh, Vinny. Oh, Vinny. Vinny looks good, man. Good to see Vinny, man. No, it's really not, but good to see Vinny, though. This from Scott Abraham. Sonny Styles holding his own, was in great position to stop Derrick Henry, catching a pass in the flats. More 11 on 11 work right now. Jacoby Lane could pop in this Ravens offense. He's made a couple of nice catches today. So Sonny Styles holding his own. You like to hear that. See if we got some more heat over here. All right, got some more heat over here. So let's switch it. Let's switch it over here to Sean Reed, who writes, on the 11 on 11 move, the ball period was largely more of the same for the Commanders. Oh, but Terry did have a nice catch over the middle to end the period, and that sounded like the play that would have been a sack had Jaden been live, right? So I don't even know if I want to take that one and be excited about it. So let's continue moving. See if we got some more heat over here. Yeah. Oh man. All right. So we got a little bit more heat. Oh my, Trey Hendrickson, Travis Jones, and Trenton Simpson party in the backfield for a group sack on Jaden Daniels. Ravens sideline is going crazy. 4 of the 5 plays this drive have resulted for no gain or a tackle for loss. Ouch. Yikes. So that's where we at right now, man. And I just told y'all, Candy Waller texted me, basically said she can't do any more of this center shit. She's over it. So I think it's time. And I asked for this. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. But I asked for this because these types of practices, just like the Detroit game, prompted them to say Julian Good-Jones isn't good enough. This practice is going to prompt them to say Matt Golban isn't good enough, and our center position overall isn't good enough. And it'll make them do something. And that's what you need. The worst thing that could have happened is that Matt Golban was good enough today, and it made them think that they were okay and that it was satisfactory enough. And then you get to the season and nothing was done, and then we really get exposed. Get exposed now while something still can be done while it's not too late. That's how I feel. That's why I said what I said 2-3 weeks ago. I want Julian Good-Jones to stink. And I remember Rio was like, nah, I don't necessarily want that. I'm like, nah, I need that. I need him to be ass. I need them to know that this center position isn't okay and they need to do something. Just like last year, we fell into the trap of thinking, oh man, we close to a Super Bowl. We just need to make a couple of moves. No, our roster was never close. We were just being bailed out by Superman himself, Jaden Daniels. The roster was never close. And so don't fall into the trap of thinking that, oh, we're good at center. No, you're not. You're not good at center. They understand that. You know what happened yesterday? You know why they signed DJ Humphries? Because Brandon Coleman had to miss practice and Andrew Wiley had to play left tackle, and they said, this shit's not okay. Hey, get on the horn and sign DJ Humphries. We can't have Andrew Wiley playing left tackle. They had to see that shit, physically see it to understand this is not okay. So, good. I'm glad. We'll see if more changes happen. We'll see if more changes happen. Let's get to the comment section, though. Matter of fact, let's get to a quick little word from our sponsor. Then we'll get to the comment section. Big shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this stream. If you're not a member of the Prize Picks family, you're in luck. Link is in the description of this video. Click that link. It'll take you to where you can download the app. App is available in states like Florida, Texas, and California, and so many others across the U.S. Use the promo code HMA as you see on the screen in front of you. That will unlock a great opportunity from Prize Picks to play $5. And if you win said $5 lineup, whether it's a 2-pick power play lineup or a 3-pick flex lineup, doesn't matter. Whichever you feel is the best way for you to win that $5 lineup, you will get $150 instantly in lineup bonuses if you win that $5 lineup when you use the promo code HMA as a first-time user. So take advantage of that opportunity. You can do a lot of damage with $150 in bonus lineups. There's going to be a Waffle Wednesday pickup opportunity today on Prize Picks. So we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, I'll tell you this much. Prize Picks is going to make us a lot of money this season. Watch what I tell you. It's going to be a lot of opportunity. I've gotten so much better at this this gaming thing. We're going to call it this gaming thing than I was last year. Like last year, I was a novice. I was just starting out. I didn't really know what I didn't know. Man, we're going to kill the game this year on Prize Picks. So make sure y'all get y'all affairs in order. If you're not a member of the Prize Picks family, go ahead, sign up, get yourselves ready because we're going to do some damage this year. Big shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring this stream. All right, let's get to the comment section, man. See what y'all talking about. Duncan Wright. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Duncan writes, I'm here to clean out. Get out of here, Duncan. Duncan Wright, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Hey, Lou, you a fraud. I got big proof. You know who the biggest fraud is? You. You are the biggest fraud. Every week, you got proof that somebody's a fraud, but you know who the biggest fraud is? You. Because you parade around and masquerade as a Eagles fan, but you really secretly are a Commanders fan. You're the biggest fraud I know. All right. Wrath of God. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Mr. Kings, so bad. I really wanted to be there. One of these years, I will be down there to celebrate the team we love with y'all. Thanks for all the updates, as I really appreciate it all. Love, bruh. No doubt, bro. Look, handle business in Alaska, bruh. Take care of home. Take care of the fam. Make sure you're doing what you need to do there. And eventually, we will link at some point, man. But keep doing what you're doing, bruh. Keep doing what you're doing. Juan Gotti talks sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, Ravens on that bullshiggity, in the words of Ed Oliver. Can't live tweet the practice. It's crazy. I was too ready. Ravens home. Ravens rules, I guess. Well, rules are made to be broken, Juan. Rules are made to be broken. Let's see if somebody else, or let's see if we're continuing to have rules broken. This from Tashawn Reed. This from Tashawn Reed right here. That short-handed Commanders O-line thinking the ass is handed to him. Ouch. Ouch. Yikes. G. Willikers. Scott Abraham says a little skirmish during special teams drills. No big deal. All right. No big deal there. So we're going to switch it over to our guy, Josh. He says, even when Jaden Daniels is finding time in the pocket, his pass catchers aren't helping him out much. Stephon Diggs got a step on Keandre Jackson at the top of an in-breaking route, and Daniels hits Diggs right in the hands, but the veteran wide receiver can't hold on to the ball. So, hey, get them drops out now, man. I guess y'all down on Stephon Diggs because he had a drop. Like, we're good, guys. Y'all relax, man. Like, as long as Five is out here doing what he need to do, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. So that's where we at right now. And if we get any more, we'll come back. We'll keep perusing the interweb for more information. So let's move on. One Gotti talking sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up with rights. Quinn's plan. Lou, are we starting that up? Nah, not at all. Not at all. I am not doing that at all. I am not doing that at all. I'm gonna leave that alone, man. I'm gonna leave that alone. Look, I still believe in Dan Quinn. You know, I don't love Dan Quinn. Okay, let's be clear. I don't love Dan Quinn, never have, but I like Dan Quinn, and I think he's a good coach. You know, I think he stands for a lot of good things, and I think he understands what's going on. Unlike Ronald, who was clearly overmatched, and the game had passed him by, and he didn't get it. DQ gets it. He understands what needs to be done. It's just a matter of can he do it. I think he brought in the right people. I think they've got a roster that they can win with. Obviously, they've got some more things that they need to accomplish on the offensive line. That Laramie Tunsil injury sucks, man. That really hurts. It really, really crippled this offensive line. They're going to have to find a way to circumvent that. This is the NFL. You can't cry over spilt milk. You got to find a way, and they're going to have to find a way. And again, we're going to have to do some 2024 type shit. The offensive line was not great in 2024. Andrew Wiley was our starting right tackle, y'all. Brandon Coleman was our starting left tackle. Our offensive line was not great in 2024. It's not great right now. And they found a way in 2024. They're going to have to find a way in 2026. You're going to have to help. You're going to have to chip. You're going to have to double team. You're going to have to do everything that you did in 2024 to have Jaden have enough time to be successful. They're going to have to find a way to run the football. They're going to have to manufacture rush offense. Whatever they got to do, they're going to have to figure it out. I have confidence that they have the right play callers to do that. I think the defense can actually hold up this end of their end of the bargain this time around, which they didn't the last time. So when it's all said and done, I think we're going to be fine. But we needed this. This shit needed to happen because we needed this to happen. I will report this. I will say this. Yeah, everything y'all hearing, right? All these reports that y'all, a lot of this is Ravens defense versus our offense. You know what you haven't heard a lot of? Ravens offense kicking our defense's ass because it's not happening. So again, the thing that we said is going to be the thing is being the thing right now. And our starters aren't even, all of our starters aren't even out there. And our defense is holding up. Okay. They're holding up. So I'm confident that we'll do what we need to do. But these you know what's going to be really, really huge is these next 4 to 5 days. Cutting down the roster, going out, scouring the NFL streets, seeing what's out there, and then making some decisions on what you're going to do with this roster. Offensive line-wise in particular. That's what's going to be huge over the next 4 to 5 days. Because I said this yesterday, I said it 2 days ago. The depth on the offensive line stinks. And bringing in DJ Humphries is a first step in them rectifying what is the biggest problem on this team right now, and that's the offensive line, and it's depth. So the offensive line isn't as bad as it feels today because you have no Sam Cosmi, in addition to Matt Golban playing center, in addition to, already having Brandon Coleman at left tackle. There's too much to overcome on the offensive line. And hell, we don't even know how Chris Paul's playing right now. He could be ass right now too, for all we know. Center could be affecting him, right? He can't even do his job at a high level because he's worried about the guy next to him. Who knows, right? Poor Chris Paul, by the way. Coleman on one side, a revolving door of ass on his other side at center. Poor Chris Paul, Anyway, I digress. Loser, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, 4 playing edge week 1 with DA and Owe out? No, I don't think so. I think what you will see is week 1, because John Keim had his prediction, and I didn't realize this. Because Dorrance is suspended, he can't be on the 53-man roster when the roster cuts happen. It's almost as if he's on like some sort of list, which he technically is. He's on the suspension list. So Javonte Jean-Baptiste is going to make the team initially. That's what that means. So I think you're going to see Javonte Jean-Baptiste on one end, and I think you're going to see Joshua Josephs on the other, assuming let me take that back. Adafi Owe and Kaylavon Chason are going to be healthy week 1. So DA is out for sure. Owe is going to be ready for week 1 until I'm told otherwise. Because even if he's out, Kaylavon Chason will be back. And so you still would have Josephs and Kaylavon Chason. And like I said, Javonte Jean-Baptiste is making the football team because Dorrance isn't going to be on the initial 53-man roster because he's suspended. When Dorrance comes back in week 2, that's when they're going to cut Javonte Jean-Baptiste, and then he'll go to the practice squad. So week 1, Frankie's your middle. He's one of your starting middle linebackers. Frankie's not going to the edge this year. This isn't last year. They're not moving Frankie around. Frankie's a middle linebacker. He's inside backer along with Sonny Styles. So, no, he's not going to edge week 1. Stuntin' J, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Stuntin' J writes, Lou, if a trade was to happen, would you trade for Jackson Powers Johnson, center guard? Is he still in Vegas with the Raiders? Is that where he is? If I'm not mistaken. What's the cost? What's the cost? It shouldn't be too expensive. If you're telling me I got to give up a 6th-round pick for Jackson Powers Johnson, yeah, I'd do it. I'd do it. I might even be willing to part ways with a 5th. I really don't want to give shit up, though, bro. Beggars can't be choosers at this point, though, right? I really don't want to give anything up. Can I just get to a draft with a full complement of draft picks, please? Please? But if you told me I had to give up a 5th, 6th, or a 7th, I'm probably, at this point, willing to do it. Right? Beggars can't be choosers. And you know how I feel about 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks, especially 6th and 7th round picks. I kind of want my 5th round pick, but the 6th and the 7th rounders, if that's going to help save my season, that helps my season have a shot, I'm willing to do it, right? But I already told you, I really don't want to give up shit. I really just want all my picks, if at all possible. All right, let's scour the social media streets. See if there's some heat out here, man. Okay, so maybe I spoke too soon. All right, let's go here. Let's go here. Maybe I spoke too soon. All right, this is from our guy Scotty Abraham. He says, Kinlaw with a great push up front to stop Henry in the backfield during 11-on-11s. Lamar to Devontae Walker for a 60-yard score. Hit Walker across the middle of the field. Looked like Styles was trailing Walker on the play. Walker then won a foot race with the Commanders' DBs. That's not good, obviously. Commanders are not getting any pressure off the edge during 11-on-11s. Remember, no Owe or Chase on. Of course. Let's see. All right, let's go here. Jaden Daniels escapes the pocket to his right, evading pressure coming from the middle center. Attempts a pass for tight end Chigakonkwo, but Kyle Hamilton is all over it. Incomplete. Jesse Minter is spending the majority of practice with the defense, patrolling the sidelines and offering immediate feedback. Minter showing some emotion today in the joint practice. Aeneas Pebbles gets home for a sack of Sam Hartman, and an elated Minter immediately daps Peebles up on the field. Officials let the play go, and Hartman tossed it harmlessly over Ravens' sideline. So, yeah, that just happened as well. So, yeah. Washington Carter, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Right. Sup, LT? There's a bunch of updates on X right now, and we're fishing through them. We're getting them all. Thanks, Washington Carter. We're getting them all, man. And they're not good for the good guys. That's for sure. It's all bad. Like a wise man once said, everything I'm doing, he said, everything. What did he say? I can't remember the exact words, but everything I did is all bad. I got a chick on the side telling you so many lies. Ain't nothing good, it's all bad. Everything's all bad, y'all. Everything is all bad. Everything is all bad, y'all. As a wise man once said, it'll be all over in the morning. It'll be all over in the morning, y'all. Or in the next maybe 30 minutes, it'll be all over. It'll be all over. Jay Taberley, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jay Taberley, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Mitch Tisler has trench work videos up. Word. Do we even want those at this point? Yeah, y'all got to see this. Yeah. Jesus. All right. So, I mean, we need some good news too, right? We need some good news too. So yeah, let's get to it. Yeah, thank you for that, J-Tab. We do need these. Because I was about to shit on it for real. So he says, shooting is done. First rep of O-line versus D-line one. Brandon Coleman stones Trey Hendrickson and pushes him back around the back of the quarterback. So that's good. This is DJ Humphrey's first rep right here. Pretty good rep. Quarterback would have already stepped up and delivered the football by then after all of that second movement. He thwarted his first rush up the field right there. Right there. And again, quarterback would have stepped up. He wouldn't have continued to drop back further and further. So that's a good rep from Humphreys. He might mess around and end up being our starting left tackle at some point this season. This is Chris Paul, which we know. One thing I already told y'all, one thing Chris Paul can do is pass protect. He had his hand up in the face a little bit, but we want to keep that down. But ultimately, Chris Paul can pass protect. It's the run blocking that's an issue for him. Definitely had his hand up in the face mask, but that's a good rep. This is not a good rep. Right here. Matt Goldman. Hey, well, you know what? That's not bad. Initial pushback, but he pushed him around. You know, that's a little sidestep and a step up in the pocket for a quarterback. Definitely got driven back, but he held his ground. Wasn't as bad as it looked initially. So, all right, so we go back here to our boy Scotty Abraham. Mike Sainris still having a good day. Interception on Lamar during red zone work. Lamar was looking for a back corner fade. Hey, Mikey! Yes, sir. Let's go. One of the few guys in the secondary that takes it away, Mikey. So, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. It's not all bad at all. Let's see if we got any more updates before we get back to the comment section. All right. Let's go back, way back into time. All right. Thank you for that, J-Tap. Logan Lodo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Logan Lodo writes, my bad to holler at you like that in traffic on. Oh, that was you. Shout out to my guy, Logan Lodo. Hey, bro, you scared the shit out of me. But it's all love, bro. It's all love. He said, I felt bad after the fact because I didn't notice your baby's in the back seat sleeping until I was already hollering at you. It's all good. They sleep. They could have slept through a damn a foghorn, bro. You weren't waking them up. You didn't phase them one bit. My daughter's neck is rubber, bro. Her shit was rubber. She was drooling, woke up with a damn puddle of drool on her shirt. You weren't breaking that up. You just scared the shit out of me. That's all. I wasn't expecting that. Had my windows down, breeze was flowing, but I don't mind, bro. I don't mind. I love it. Hey, shout out to you. I was telling Rio about that on the way up. I was like, yo, I was driving and the dude was halfway out the truck. I was like, yo, Louie T, what up? I was like, yo. That was pretty dope. It was cool, man. Shout out to you, Logan, man. Shout out to you, bro. That was dope. And I got a real chuckle out of that. That was funny. HK Hawkins. He says, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. HK writes, we don't deserve Jaden if we're not even going to try to give him an NFL caliber center. I would agree with that. Like, they're gonna do that eventually. It's probably too late to do it now. Like, that should have been done in the offseason. They're gonna do it next year. They tried again. I can't beat Adam Peters up too much for. It's not like he ignored it. He tried. He just didn't try hard enough. That's my issue. Is like he tried, and he was swinging for the fences. He wanted the best center in the game in Tyler Linderbaum, or one of the best centers. I won't call him the best, but one of the best. He's paid as the best. That's for damn sure. He was going after one of the best, and the Raiders said no. But to somebody's point earlier, Jackson Powers Johnson is, obviously not the answer in Vegas. Circle like vultures around him to see if he gets cut. If he's not going to get cut, probably won't get cut because he can play both guard and center. Maybe, just maybe, you toss the Raiders a little something, right? Hey, you know what you could have done? The Raiders need receiver help. Why don't you toss them Van Jefferson? Y'all could have just swapped players. Don't let Van Jefferson hit the street, and now you can't get him. Swap you Van Jefferson for Jackson Powers Johnson, man. Why not? Everybody wins. You need receivers. We need a center. Everybody wins. I'd pick up the phone and see if they were interested in Van Jefferson. Maybe they're not. But I'd do it anyway. The worst they can tell me is no. Matter of fact, I don't know if y'all saw, Adam Peters just did the Ice Bucket Challenge in support of Chris Johnson, and he challenged John Spytek. Who is John Spytek? Adam Peters' is very good friend and also the general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders. Pick up the phone, man. If I'm them, I don't want Van Jefferson, but I'm going to ask anyway. Doesn't hurt. C-Trill, been a member for 33 months. Who writes, I'm glad this O-line is shit and we're not being deceived. I think that's the best. Honesty is the best policy. Like, the worst thing that could have happened is if they would have been out here faking the funk, out here putting up a mirage, putting up a facade, fooling the whole staff, making them think that they actually had a competent, offensive line, or at least a competent interior of the offensive line. No Cosme today doesn't help either, But I really just needed them to see that they need to do something. I think that's what's being accomplished today. So I'm not mad at that. Ronnie Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the dime. My guy Ronnie writes, what up, bro? What's up, Ronnie? 14 is really showing up. The O-line still has some question marks, but our defense is definitely going to be the main character this year. I'll say that they'll be the main character early this season. I hope they're the main character, well, one of the main characters, for the entirety of the season. But we need the offense to be main characters too, right? But I think the main character will be defense at the beginning of the season. I think you're right about that. And eventually, I need the offense to step up and be a main character. And if this movie plays out the way that we need it to, defense will start off strong, offense will come along, and by the season's end, they both clicking on and hitting on all cylinders. We'll see. We'll see. Defense is definitely going to be something we got to lean on early while we try to figure out all of this running back shit, offensive line, center shit. So, we'll see. See if we got some more heat. Practice is about to be over here shortly. All right, practice is officially over. All right, we got a little bit of heat here. So let's get to some of this heat. Scotty Abraham says, oh, baby. First of all, Trey Hendrickson putting pressure on Jaden, forcing an incompletion. Then he says, oh, baby, 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 down. When it comes to being true, and he's true to me. One thing I found, oh boy, never let me down. Get up, I get, get up, I get, get up, I get, get up, I get. Jaden with a dime to Antonio Williams. Y'all know what it is. Oh, baby, 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 down. Under heavy pressure, put some air under it. Touchdown. Touchdown. Da, 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 da. That was beautiful. That's my 5. That's my 14. Practice is over. Some good, some not so good. The Commanders have plenty to work on before week 1 in Philly. We already knew that. We already knew that. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's go here. Ravens and Commanders joined same field for late 11-on-11 period with teams on opposite sidelines. On the final play of the red zone series, Lamar is picked off in the back right of the end zone. That was Mikey. Ravens defense takes the field versus Jaden Daniels and company and immediately draw Commanders' false start. DQ's not going to like that. Commanders bounce back on final play as Daniels lost a touchdown to Antonio Williams on the left side of the end zone with Hawkins in single coverage. Don't tell me my rookie Demon ain't gonna be playing a big role come week 1. I'm just not buying it, bro. I'm just not. All right. Commanders Ravens joint practice is over. Spent the majority of the practice watching Ravens defense behind their sideline. The defense dominated and was noticeably fast to the ball. Commanders didn't generate a single explosive. Ravens created plenty of negative plays versus Jaden Daniels. So that is his perspective of things. I don't think it's too far off either. But everybody has Mikey picking off Lamar and Jaden with a touchdown to Antonio Williams. He was pressured, so I don't know if he would have been sacked. It sounds like he would not have been sacked on the play, but it is what it is. You love to hear it. Bottom line is you love to hear it. So at least they ended on a good note. At least we finished on a high note. So we go here. We go to our girl Candy. All right. Joint practice just ended with a Jaden Daniels bomb to Antonio Williams to close out practice. Commanders offense needed that last play badly. That's a wrap from joint practice. Both sides got some great work in on the defensive side to end practice command. So they ended on a good note. Mike got the pick, Jaden to Antonio for the touchdown. We needed a pick-me-up on the way out the door. She said, saw some impressive plays for Commanders linebacker Kane Madrano early on in joint practice. So I told you, he's going to make the roster over Ale Cajo. I really, truly believe that. I felt that way before this. That helps his cause. And then I think he's going to solidify that and cement it on Friday because he is absolutely playing on Friday, is Kane Madrano. So good for him. Good for him. Good for him. Sounds like Antonio Hamilton, not Antonio Hamilton. Antonio Williams had a good practice. That's what that sounds like to me. Sounds like he had a pretty productive practice. All right. Mitch Tischler says, wasn't a good joint practice for the Commanders, which is putting it mildly, but ended strong with red zone work. Down 4, got a score, and Mikey Sanders still picked off Lamar in the end zone. And then Jaden threw a F it Terry down there somewhere, throw to Antonio Williams for a practice-ending walk-off TD. All right, so that is joint practice, y'all, in a nutshell. So sounds like we got everything that we needed to get out of that. So biggest takeaways, offensive line right now is an issue. We knew that. No Sam Cosmi absolutely exacerbated the problem that already existed. But I don't think the offensive line is as bad as it showed today because no Cosmi meant that Trent Scott was out there or Julian Good-Jones was out. Somebody that was ass was at right guard today. So that didn't make the situation any better. So I don't think the offensive line is as bad as it was that it appeared to be today. But center is a problem. Left tackle might be a problem. These are things we already knew, though. So ultimately, they were shorthanded, short-staffed. They did what they could do with what they had. It's not ideal, but I'm not freaking out. I know a lot of people will freak out. I know this fan base like the back of my hand. I already know how this is going to go, and that's okay. Ultimately, they do need to do something, but we've been saying that for quite some time now. DJ Humphries, I said yesterday, is the start. It is not the finish of what's going to be this offensive line. They still need to do some work, and I think they're going to do that. Sometimes you need to get your ass kicked in order to affect change. Sometimes you need this. You need a good, stern ass whooping so that you can see the truth. the worst thing that could have happened today, the worst thing is that Matt Golden and the offensive line went out there and they were serviceable. It would have made them feel like they don't need to do something. Get your ass whooped so that you know this is not going to be okay. It's not going to be good enough. Mission accomplished. Thank you, Baltimore, for your service. So I expect something to get done now. I think something was going to get done anyway, but this ensures that that happens, I believe. So I think there's a chance that neither Matt Golden or Julian Good-Jones makes the roster. Neither of them make the roster. I still think somehow Matt Golden makes the roster because he was a draft pick. Until, I've said this already, until Adam Peters cuts a draft pick, the year that he drafts the guy, I don't believe he's going to do it. He's got to show me that he's willing to cut a draft pick. So until he does that, I got all of the draft picks making the roster, including Matt Golden. Julian Good-Jones isn't making this roster in my mind, and I would love to see Trent Scott being shown the door. Pack your things and go, 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 go. Pack your things and go, 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 go. I would love to see that happen for him too, but I doubt it. I think they like Trent Scott. So, whatever. Darnell Kelly, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Darnell Kelly writes, the third just hit. Tim Curry just died. I told y'all it come in threes, bro. We lost Hayden, then Dolly hit us yesterday, and then Tim Curry hits us today. So there it is. There's the trifecta. I hate that shit, man. I hate that shit. But that's how the cookie crumbles. That's what it is. It's always three. I hate that shit, but that's how it's got to be. So we knew it was going to be a third one coming. And like you said, Darnell, there it is. He was in so many movies, man. I know, like, a lot of people would probably remember him from the Little Rocky Horror Picture Show. But he was in so many good movies, man. So many good movies. Lost another one. Loser. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Tim Curry. Rest in paradise, my guy. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Nikki just said this is the worst she's seen in years. Let's go get that direct quote from her. And that can't be true because this offense was definitely worse last year. Maybe not the offensive line, but the offense was not good last year. But now, if she would have said this is the worst offensive line, let's see what she said. Okay, so let's pull it up. She said, this is the worst I've seen the Commanders' offense in years. Inoperable offensive line. So I think she's not saying the offense is bad. It's just you can't function if your offensive line stinks. Like, it doesn't matter how much talent you have. If your offensive line is a sieve, then you suck on offense. We know the talent is there. But it doesn't matter if you don't have time to get the ball off. And again, let me reiterate this. This is the beauty of the Juice Weasel. It's a totally different ball game when you're game planning for someone versus just going out willy-nilly running, calling plays. That's it. There's no design. There's no structure. There's no setting anything up. We're just calling plays. Your guys against mine. Like DQ said, at his press conference before the joint practice. We get to see a lot of one-on-one matchups. We're not going to win those because from a talent perspective, we're not better than the Ravens on the offensive line against their defensive line. We're just not with the guys that we had out there. Without a Sam Cosmi, without a Laramie Tunzel, without Nick Allegretti, and not that that's a name that you would throw out, but he's better than what we had out there today. 3/5 of your starting offensive line not out there. One of those guys isn't coming back anytime soon, so you have to figure it out. Yeah, today was rough. But my message to you out there, those of you who are gonna, lose your shit over this, and I get it, by the way, but I'm not one of them. They didn't game plan. Game planning helps so much because when you game plan, you start accounting for weaknesses. What you're doing right now, you're in the process of figuring out what you can and can't do, who can and can't do, right? So you're not looking to hide weaknesses. You're not looking to hide a guy and the deficiencies that he may have. You're looking to exploit those. If you can't do it, we need to see that you can't do it. That's what these joint practices are all about. One-on-one matchups. That shit it's not a fair fight when the offense is going one-on-one against the defenders. You saw Kyle Hamilton get run by Antonio Wood. That's not a fair fight. But it's not supposed to be fair. They're putting him in a compromising situation to see how he reacts, what he does. That's what these joint practices are for. One-on-one matchups to see how you respond, right? When you get to a game, now we're game planning around our deficiencies, our weaknesses. We're taking our strengths and we're amplifying them, and we're taking our weaknesses and we're trying to reduce and shrink those to next to nothing. So if I have an issue at left tackle, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to set my offense up in a way that negates the issue I have at left tackle, or at least minimizes it as much as possible. That means chips. That means double teams. That means quick game. You're not seeing that in a joint practice setting. We're going to try to run our offense the best we can. If it doesn't work, guess what? That's going to allow us to see what we can and what we can't do. So I'm just going to tell you what my perspective is. I've seen a lot of football in my life, and I've seen enough of it to know how this shit works. And if you believe in your play caller, which I do, I believe in both of our play callers. If you believe in your play callers, then, and you believe in your quarterback, which I do again. If you believe in the talent that surrounds your quarterback, which I do again, then you can overcome deficiencies on your offensive line. It's going to take some scheming. Stay scheming. O-line trying to get at me. You're going to have to scheme it up. David Blau is going to have to scheme it up. That's why we put him in the position that he's in. That's why we put him in the position that he's in. I have confidence that by the time we get to week 1 against Philadelphia, they will have a game plan. They will have health first and foremost, right? Allegretti will be back. Cosmi will be in, obviously. And Bill will be back. Rashad White will be back. Remember, you had Robert Henry and you had Fat Man out there. Like, what are we talking about, man? Seriously. Like, and I know those guys aren't blocking in the backfield and whatnot, but come on, what are we talking about, y'all? No Sam Cosmi. Golbin making his first appearance at center in a meaningful position. What are we talking about, y'all? Seriously. Stop that shit, y'all. Golbin ain't starting. Trent Scott or whoever ass cheeks Jackson they had out there at right guard ain't starting. Yeah, the offense looked the worst that Nicky's seen it because the offensive line was inoperable. Yeah. Golbin, put whoever you want at right guard, and Brandon Coleman at left tackle. Still, getting acclimated to the switch. Man has been playing left guard all summer, basically. So, yeah. We saw how he got pushed back in Jaden's lap. He's still adjusting, bro. That man has not taken a single left tackle snap all year until Laramie Tunsil got hurt. Not a single one. That man was relegated to just left guard. They just wanted him to focus on left guard. So he's got to retrain his body. So, again, I know, y'all know how I get down. I'm an optimist. This ain't going to do nothing but force me to This ain't gonna do nothing but give me another shot of hopium, bro. Y'all already know what it is. So if you're looking for negativity, you got to go to another channel. I'm not a homer. If we were just asked, if this was the talent from last year, if this was Ron Rivera as the head coach, if this was Ron Rivera, the GM, I tell you, this shit is going nowhere fast. We had no shot. You got no chance. That's what you got. I tell you. No, this is bad. I tell you. We got all of the requisite pieces we need to make this shit work. This is where coaching. Because the talent is here. Everywhere except the offensive line due to the injuries. Because just a month ago, we were talking about this offensive line having a chance to be a top 10 unit. So let's not act like all of a sudden, you know what I mean, this offensive line was always trash, because it wasn't. Just a month ago, we were talking about, where does this offensive line rank in the NFC East? Where does this offensive line rank in the NFC? Where does this offensive line rank in the NFL? Okay. We were just outraged over Mike Clay's list on ESPN ranking the positions, and oh my God, they disrespected our offensive line. We were just talking about that not too long ago. So let's not act like the offensive line was neglected this offseason. The center position was. Yes, it was. And if this center shit doesn't get fixed, Adam Peters is to blame, and he will have to answer to this. And if our season goes awry because they didn't take care of the center position when they had a chance to, off with his head, guillotine style. Off with his head. But if I know Adam Peters, like I think I know Adam Peters, that man working the phones right now. He's working the phones right now. He's checking the scene with a gangster lean. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We gonna be all right. We needed a day like today. Y'all should be thankful. Y'all should thank the Ravens for today. Because if the Ravens would have did some Miami Dolphins shit, we would have went into the season with false hope about the offensive line. We don't need that shit. That's not going to help nobody. We needed an ass whooping so that they can see this shit is not good enough. Fix the center position. Now. That's going to happen. So. Thank you for that, loser. Alec Meehan, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Alec writes, our O-line being worse than the Bengals was not on my bingo card this year. Need to do something quick. Yeah, I don't like our O-line and the Bengals O-line being in the same breath. That's the same thing about the defense. Don't like our name and the Bengals name being in the same breath when you talk about defense or offensive line. That's not company you want to keep. Not at all. That's not the company you want to keep. So, yeah. Yeah, not. So, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this joint practice with the Baltimore Ravens. It was a thorough ass kicking today. One-sided beatdown. All right. One-sided beatdown. by the Commanders, or by the Ravens to the Commanders. Ended on a high note for the Commanders with a pick by Mike Sainristil. Mike Sainristil seems to have Lamar Jackson's number somehow. Picked him off in the game in 2024 as a rookie, picked him off today in the red zone, gave the Commanders a much-needed boost at the end of practice, and then Jaden Daniels finds rookie Antonio Williams on an effort YOLO deep ball that it sounds like for a touchdown to end practice on a positive note. But it was really a one-sided beatdown. Ravens dominated the Commanders' offense with their defense, and the Ravens' offense wasn't like super efficient, but they made some plays. Ultimately, work needs to be done. We knew that was going to be the case. And all they did was confirm what we already knew going into the joint practice. So, in any event, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. I will have Candy Waller joining me later on this evening to talk about what she saw at the joint practice. I'll just let y'all know right now, Candy is going to, it's not going to be pretty. You know, Candy's description of what she saw is not going to be pretty. And we need it. I told her this, 2 years ago when we did the New England, or last year rather, when we did the New England Patriots thing, that we need it. We need the truth. We need the harsh, ugly reality and truth. We need it. That's the only way that you get better, is you need the truth. Don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. So we're going to get the truth in any event. You guys have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will be back later on tonight, and I will be accompanied by Candy Waller. We'll have Seawall Wednesdays, and we will go through this joint practice with a fine-tooth comb and maybe even try to come up with some solutions. We'll see what happens. You guys have a good one. Take care. Try not to freak out. Freak out! Freak out! Try not to.